With the 2025 NFL Draft Combine right around the corner, the Carolina Panthers are starting to make moves towards the 2025 season. And today, we'll talk about it. You're listening to Gym Dropper Sports. Let's get it. So free agent moves have started, and the Carolina Panthers have made some waves by letting go of some pretty prominent pieces. Shaq Thompson has been granted his release to go seek out other opportunities. Shaq Thompson, who was the last member of the 2015 Super Bowl team here in Carolina, had seen every single bit of what this Panthers franchise can be. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and what may have you. Shaq Thompson is one of those guys that he's going to forever be a Panther. He's going to forever be remembered as a Panther because he's a guy that even when it wasn't advantageous to him or anybody else, he took a pay cut to try to stay here. He wanted to be a Panther for life. I think things just happened, and the way the franchise was moving, it was time to make some serious moves and try to move forward. And you can't move forward when you continuously hold on to certain guys that may have been something for you in the past. And that's what I thought Shaq Thompson was. Shaq Thompson was a guy that was a productive guy for us, was a leader in the locker room for us. But here in the past couple of seasons, he had dealt with season-ending injury after season-ending injury, and we need a guy that can be on the field and can help contribute. Guys like Trevin Wallace played a lot of football last year, a rookie that we drafted out of Kentucky. This may have allowed the Carolina Panthers to say, hey, look, we think we have a young guy we can move forward with. Guys like Josie Jewell played really well for us last year as well. We'll try to go either draft some guys, sign some guys in free agency that, that are more so suited for this system more than likely. At least guys that worked with the Vero in the past, you would think. And we'll move forward from there. Shaq Thompson, though, man, I will very much miss his presence. I will miss his presence, but here's the thing. I mean, you got to be on the field for us at some point in time. A guy that brought it every day, brought that physicality, brought that edge. He was a part of that great linebacking core with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly. You knew that I felt confident when Shaq was on the field for us. It's unfortunate that the latter years of his career kind of have been sniped away by injuries, some of which that may have been caused by the turf field that we've all complained about, players and fans alike. But, we must have concerts here on Main Street. So that's, that takes precedence over player safety, of course. But ultimately, man, Shaq Thompson being released is one of those things that you're not happy with, but I'll tell you what does put a smile on my face. It's the fact that that's a hard decision that has to be made, and Dan and Dave made said decision. They're willing to go that route and make this team better. They're trying to make this team better. I take a lot of what their moves that they made even throughout last year as moves to try to make this team better. Another guy that was released, Dane Jackson. That was a Buffalo Bills direct signing that had a lot to do with Dan Morgan. He was a guy that didn't contribute anything for us last year. They had no problem letting him go. I greatly appreciate that. There are other guys on this list that, that kind of tells me where the Panthers are heading. Tommy Tremble being granted his release to go seek out other opportunities, go test the free agent market. That's a serious move to me because Ian Thomas also got the boot. So we do know and we do understand that tight end room was not up to par and that we do need more weapons. JT Sanders out of Texas was, a rookie last year. He showed flashes of a guy that can be the man in that room. This does lead to what will the Panthers do at number 8 with that draft pick. And there are a lot of different names that are being thrown around that we'll get to later. So then you got guys like Eddie Pinheiro that are also being released. Those are the big names because these are guys that have been around and, if I'm being honest, have not quite contributed to winning in any shape, form, or fashion. The numbers to tell you that, Eddie Pinheiro was pretty decent. I can tell you that in critical moments, we all know Eddie Pinheiro is choking on a daggum glue stick trying to make plays happen. You know what I'm saying? Trying to simply do his job. I mean, we're talking about extra points that cannot get made if it's in crunch time. So, Eddie Pinheiro being released is another one of those things that I know the fans are happy with. And again, makes me feel good as a fan because this means that you are no longer settling for mediocrity. At least that's how it reads to me on this side of the spectrum. So as we know, the Panthers are at the NFL draft combine right now. Dan Morgan has done interviews. Dave Canales has done interviews, and things are starting to stand out about what they said in their pressers. For Dave, Dave spoke about wanting to press rookies into the line of fire pretty early, and that being his method. He wants to play young guys. So again, they talked about also getting playmakers, getting more explosive players, guys that put the ball in the end zone, touchdown makers. That's an important thing. That's an important thing to remember as we move along through this process, because the number 8 pick for Carolina is one that has a lot of names swirling around it. You have guys like Jalen Walker that have swirled around, guys like Mike Green that have swirled around. Also guys like Tetero McMillan out of Arizona that swirled around, and Tyler Warren out of Penn State. These are all guys that people are mentioning with Carolina, that are connected to Carolina, because the Panthers just so happen to not really know what they're going to do to attack that pick. What Dan Morgan has said in his presser is that the same way they attacked last year's free agent class is the same way they want to attack this year's on the opposite side. Last year was all offensive line, making that the point of emphasis, and you showed improvement. You now have what is considered to be a top half of the league unit on the offensive line that played solid throughout the entirety of the year, and I think allowed for that ascension of Bryce Young at the latter half of 2024. Now in 2025, attacking that defensive line is going to be the play here. Can you make this team better? Because realistically, no rookie you draft is going to instantly change the fortunes of this franchise. We're not good enough in a lot of places for one guy to make that difference. Now, drafting well can still very much help you, and that should not be diminished whatsoever. But grabbing guys in free agency, can you grab a guy like Josh Sweat? Can you grab a guy like Charles Omenihu? Can these guys be convinced to come play in Charlotte and help turn this defensive line around? Because there are still guys like Derek Brown that are still very much active and great football players. Ashawn Robinson had a solid year last year. I would love to see him, back in the Panthers uniform and help contribute. DJ Wonnum, I thought once DJ Wonnum got on the field, we saw the difference in the pass rush. Jadeveon Clowney is another guy that I would like to bring back as well. He's a guy that I think he's a much better suited for a rotational role, and the role that we had him playing was very much out of his wheelhouse. Because if you've seen where he's been successful in every other place in his career, is when he's not asked to be the number one pass rushing guy on the team. That's where, Clowney's been at his best. So I think you can build a solid room with Clowney and Wonnum and another vet signing and possibly a rookie draft pick. And here's the thing. If you address the defensive line the way you addressed the O-line last year, then I'm very much open to a receiver at number 8, to a tight end at number 8. These are things that I'm very much open to, because here's the thing. You want to add premium players everywhere around Bryce Young as possible. It's critical that you do so, because Bryce Young's contract is going to become a problem next offseason. So if he were to ball out, you do have to address that. That's going to be the elephant in the room. There are guys that we're also looking at that are on the roster that we got to figure out what decision gets made. JC Horn, guy that, do you exercise his 5th year option, or do you get a deal done? That's kind of been the question right now. Ike Ekwonu, do you go ahead and get an extension done for him now, or do you wait? It's been rumored that Dan has talked to both. Dan is trying to get something done. He wants to, with JC, is get something done sooner rather than later, because for him, I imagine the price is only going to go up after the season that he had this past year, being on the field, being available. The price of the brick is going up. People, we all understand that. He's one of the best in the game when he's on the field, and he stayed on the field all year. So there you go. Ike Ekwonu, I think he's a guy that right now you can buy low on right now. The market for him isn't going to be fantastic out there. He hasn't had the greatest of starts to a career, but he did look solid last season, and that has to be commended, and it should be rewarded. And I think it will reward everyone. Ike would get paid. He'd get paid. Here's the thing. He'd get paid good money to be a Carolina Panther, and we would have paid solid money for a guy that, if he were to continue to ascend and continue to have solid play, that price would be much higher if we allowed this to go on much longer. So we're seeing things that are happening right now. If you would have asked me what I think the offseason plan is, I would say the best course of action should be to trade back from the number 8 pick. Even though I'm a big fan of Jalen Walker out of Georgia. I want an edge rusher. I want a young edge that can grow and be the guy for years to come, right? I still say trade back. If there's a way you can, if you trade back and if you're able to grab a guy like Mike Green and you're able to collect another second round pick that can also turn into another edge rusher or a receiver. Guys like Isaiah Bond are starting to move up the boards because these are guys that are separated. These are guys that have lightning speed, guys that we don't have in the Panthers locker room as of yet. So that's my preferred, I won't say my preferred way. That's the way I think things should go. What I want, I want the player I want at our pick. I have a hard time of waiting. I'm not a GM. I'm impatient. I want to get the guy that we all love right now and figure things out from that point forward. But I think collecting another pick in within the top 100 is kind of the most important, especially within the top 50. If you can grab another pick at around somewhere in the 40s, that's very important. These are players that play for you day one and contribute. And I think that with the amount of edge rushers that are in this class, it's important to be able to go double dip. It's important to be able to grab a couple guys. You can flip around this entire defensive line room very quickly, but there are so many other positions that the Panthers need to improve because you still need to improve the secondary. You need to improve your safety position. You still need to improve the cornerback position, whether you've decided to bring back Mike Jackson or not. There are a lot of things for Carolina that you have to figure out. If they play their cards right, you can put yourself back in position to at least compete for the division, which is my only goal. That's the only goal I have for the Carolina Panthers. Compete. Be in the mix. I'm tired of being, getting into January and my team's season's has been done since October. I want to have this team be competitive. So that's what I see. Those were my thoughts. Thank you for listening to Jump Dropper Sports.